cover your now sit back and listen what the Spirit saying to the churches. Keep His commandments, law, statutes, and judgments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Whoever said the law was done away with Israel, they lied. What part of forever that they don't understand? As it is written, His saints will take the land. Now invite the angel that stand at the door to come in and sup with us, and us with Him as we read out of this great legacy, the greatest love story ever told, more valuable than silver and gold. Many are called, but few are chose. Yahweh willing, we make it home. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. About the gospel and the epistles and all the letters in the New Testament. This the new covenant congregation of Israel. We off in the chaos, seeking out the lost sheep of the house of Yehuda, singing praises to Yahweh and His Son Yeshua. Now all the men of Israel rise on up. When we say the commandments, look, mama, no fringes. His mercy endures forever. Blessed to see another Sabbath, the Sabbath day of the week, where all His saints gather. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Lead the world out there. Sisters, cover your hair. Brothers, gird your loin. Deacon, blow the ram's horn. Now sit back and listen what the Spirit saying to the churches. Keep His commandments, law, statutes, and judgments. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4 and 5. Whoever said the law was done away with Israel, they lied. What part of forever that they don't understand? As it is written, His saints will take the land. Now invite the angel that stand at the door to come in and sup with us, and us with Him as we read out of this great legacy, the greatest love story ever told, more valuable than silver and gold. Many are called, but few are chose. Yahweh willing, we make it home. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat shalom, Israel. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, my brother. Shabbat shalom, my sister. This means peace on Yahweh's Sabbath. Shabbat shalom, Judah. Shabbat beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface. The prince of this wicked world, the god of confusion, got black folk experiencing strong delusions. Got ears that can't hear hear, mouths that won't speak, eyes that can't see that this curse is so deep. Deaf, dumb, and blind, committing sin / crime. Repent, oh Israel, we're running out of precious time in the land where they saying Yahweh is dead, and you wondering why the innocent blood is shed. That's cause Satan's in the earth, he's walking to and fro, doing what he's told, meeting his status quo. Tempting man with pleasure and wickedness, denying the master, saying don't keep his commandments. Our wisdom and our knowledge in the sight of nations, but you love earthly riches than salvation. That means get safety from tribulation and wrath. The broad way leads to death, and narrow is the path. Preach the gospel, spread the good news. The son of Elohim, Yahshua, king of the Jews, not king of the Christians. That's in they do Christ like. They criminals of Yahweh, outlaws in his sight. Same-sex marriage is okay with the president. That old serpent, the devil, is controlling the government. No prayer in the school system, no truth in the black churches. That's food in our neighborhoods, children killing with no mercy. Look beyond the surface and show yourself approved. Do your own research, seek the spirit of truth. Beyond the surface, beyond the surface, beyond the surface.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome to the Beyond the Surface program. My name is Yosef ben Israel, and I am the elder priest of the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. We're located at 3901A Covington Highway, Indicator, Georgia 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869. And our website is www.thencci.org. Again, welcome to the Beyond the Surface program. Today's topic is the lessons of Eve. And let me repeat that. Today's topic is the lessons of Eve. Now, if you watched this program before, you know you must have your Bibles out to follow along with what we're talking about today. If the black slave women of the 1700s and the 1800s could see what black women have become today, they would not believe it. If the biblical women of Israel could see what their female descendants have become here in America, they also could not believe their eyes. They would have been surprised to see that their descendants are the most powerful and the most wealthiest women in America, behind white women and white men. But they would also have noticed that these highly powerful black women are the most unmarried women in America. And they have babies by many different fathers. Most of them do not know what it is like to be raised by a father and a mother. But what would the most heartbreaking thing that their ancestors have seen is that they hate black men. Slave women love their slave husbands and bore them many children. Biblical women love their biblical husbands and bore them many children. But both the slave women and the biblical women have one thing in common, and that is they remember the story of Eve. Eve was the first woman that was created, but what happened to her after she fell set the tradition, the pattern for women. Let's start this off in Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 to verse 24. Genesis chapter 2, verse 18 to verse 24. And Yahweh Elohim said, "It is not good that the man should be alone. I will make him a helpmeet for him." And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called them, every living creature, that was the name thereof. And Adam gave names to all cattle, and to the fowl of the air, and to every beast of the field. But for Adam there was not found a helpmeet for him. And Yahweh Elohim caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. And he took one of his ribs, and closed up the flesh instead thereof. And the rib which Yahweh Elohim had taken from man made he a woman, and brought her unto the man. And Adam said, This is now bone of my bones, and flesh of my flesh. She shall be called woman, because she was taken out of man. Therefore shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall cleave unto his wife, and they shall be one flesh. And they were both naked, the man and his wife, and were not ashamed. Now that's how the first woman was created, and her purpose was to be a helpmeet for Adam. Notice also that she doesn't have a name. She's called woman. Let's continue. Let's go to Genesis 3, verse 1 to verse 18. Genesis 3, verse 1 to verse 18. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh Elohim had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath Elohim said, You shall not eat of every tree of the garden? And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden, but of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, Elohim hath said, You shall not eat of it, neither shall you touch it, lest you die. And the serpent said unto the woman, You shall not surely die. That was the first lie ever been told in history. For Elohim does know that in the day you eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. And when the woman saw that the tree was good for food, and that it was pleasant to the eyes, and a tree to be desired to make one wise, she took of the fruit thereof, and did eat, and gave also unto her husband with her, and he did eat. And the eyes of them both were opened, and they knew that they were naked. And they sewed fig leaves together to make themselves aprons. And they heard the voice of Yahweh Elohim walking in the garden in the cool of the day. And Adam and his wife, hid themselves from the presence of Yahweh Elohim amongst the trees of the garden. And Yahweh Elohim called unto Adam, and said unto him, Where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. And he said, Who told thee that thou was naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou should not eat? And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. He didn't take responsibility at all, did he? And Yahweh Elohim said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. She didn't take responsibility either. And Yahweh Elohim said unto the serpent, Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and thus shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and that thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. That is the penalty for what Eve had done. Now she was supposed to be just his helpmeet, just someone, an assistant. But look what happens. Look what happens when she broke the law. Let's look at what happened with Eve again in verse 16. Unto the woman he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception. In sorrow thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee. Now that's not a curse. It is punishment for what she, because she ate of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, and convinced her husband to do the same thing. He listened to his wife when he should have listened to Yahweh Elohim. And unto Adam he said, Because thou hast hearkened unto the voice of thy wife, and hast eaten of the tree of which I commanded thee, saying, Thou shalt not eat of it. Cursed is the ground for thy sake. In sorrow thou shalt shalt thou eat of it all the days of thy life. Thorns also and thistles shall it bring forth to thee, and thou shalt eat the herb of the field. In the sweat of thy face shalt thou eat bread till thou return unto the ground, for out of it wast thou taken, for dust thou art, and unto dust shalt thou return. Now, it does not say anything about Adam going off to heaven. It says you're turning back to dust. I made you out of dust, so you're going to return back to dust. It seems like if anybody would go to heaven, Adam would be. Now, let's continue. So we have what Yahweh said unto the woman, that he was going to greatly multiply her sorrow and thy conception. So when you look at women, when they have babies today, well, when they've always had babies, they say that's the closest thing to death that a woman can come to. And she is in great pain when she delivers the child. Man does not have to go through that. The worst pain that a man has is his toothache. But a woman, when she's about to give birth, keep in mind now, she has to carry this child for 9 months. That's 9 months of being uncomfortable. A whole change is coming to her life. Her body's changing to accommodate the fetus that is in the womb. That's one of the lessons of Eve. Man does not have to do that, but a woman does. Let's go to Leviticus 15, verse 19 to verse 28. Leviticus 15, verse 19 to verse 28. And if a woman have an issue, and her issue in her flesh be blood, she shall be put apart 7 days. And whosoever toucheth her shall be unclean unto the even. And everything that she lieth upon in her separation shall be unclean. Everything also that she sitteth upon shall be unclean. And whosoever toucheth her bed shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean until the even. And whosoever toucheth anything that she sat upon shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water and be unclean unto the even. And if it be on her bed or anything whereon she sitteth, when he toucheth it, he shall be unclean unto the even. And if any man lie with her at all, and her flowers be upon him, he shall be unclean 7 days. And all the bed whereon he lieth shall be unclean. And if a woman have an issue of her blood, many days out of the time of her separation, and if it run beyond the time of her separation, all the days of the issue of her uncleanness shall be as the days of her separation, she shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth, all the days of her issue shall be unto her as the bed of her separation, and whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean. Every bed whereon she lieth, all the days of her issue be unto her as the bed of her separation, and whatsoever she sitteth upon shall be unclean as the uncleanness of her separation. And whosoever toucheth those things shall be unclean, and shall wash his clothes and bathe himself in water, and be unclean unto the even. But if she be cleansed of her issue, then she shall number to herself 7 days, and after that she shall be clean. Look what she has to go through. Again, this is one of the lessons of Eve. The man does not have to go through this. The woman does. Let's continue. That's why I understand, how is it that today you have men that want to be women? Men can't have periods. A man does not even think like a woman, but yet they want to look like one. Let's continue. Let's go to Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1 to verse 5. Leviticus chapter 12, verse 1 to verse 5. Again, this is what the lessons of Eve, and look what happened to women. And Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed and born a man child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation for her infirmity shall she be unclean. Look. And in the 8th day the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. And she shall then continue in the blood of her purifying 33 and 30 days. She shall touch no hallowed thing, nor come unto the sanctuary until the days of her purifying be fulfilled. But if she bear a male child, then she shall be unclean 2 weeks, as in her separation, and she shall continue in the blood of her purifying 66 days. So it's twice so much amount of time that a woman has to be separated from the holy things of Yahweh than it is for a man child to be born. It's half the time. Again, this all stems from Eve. Now, of course, women have gotten comfortable with that because they have no choice. That's the way their body operates. But man does not have to go through that. So the penalty, the punishment, was upon the woman. And this is what she has to go through. Now, consider this also. When it says she has to be separated for a given amount of time, she has to be separated from the holy things of Yahweh. She has to be separated from her husband. She has to be separated from cooking the food in the house. She can't be around anything that she can cause to be unclean. That is what happened with Eve. And it's continued on to this very day. Back in those days, women knew their places. They were living in a patriarchal society, like most of the world today. In most of your Muslim countries, it is a patriarchal system, except here in America, when the men want to be women. They want this to be a matriarchal society, and white men being weak is allowing it to happen. Let's go to Numbers 30, verse 3 to verse 13. Again, back in these days, this was a patriarchal society, and women have to respect that. Just like the women in the Muslim countries respect that patriarchal society, so that these women here in this society. In Numbers 30, verse 3 to verse 13, look at what it says here. If a woman also vow a vow unto Yahweh, and bind herself by a bond, bid in her father's house in her youth, and her father hear her vow, and her bond wherewith she had bound her soul, and her father shall hold his peace at her, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she had bound herself, her soul shall stand. But if her father disallow her in the day that he heareth, not any of her vows or of her bonds wherewith she hath bound her soul shall stand, and Yahweh shall forgive her, because of her father disallowed her. And if she had at all a husband, when she vowed, uttered out of her lips wherewith she bound her soul, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her in the day that he heard it, then her vow shall stand, and her bonds wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband disallow her on the day that he heard it, then he shall make her vow which she vowed, and that which she uttered with her lips, wherewith she bound her soul, of none effect, and Yahweh shall forgive her. But every vow of a widow and of her that is divorced, wherewith they have bound their soul, shall stand against her. And if she vowed in her husband's house, or bound her soul by a bond with an oath, and her husband heard it, and held his peace at her, and disallowed her not, then all her vows shall stand, and every bond wherewith she bound her soul shall stand. But if her husband have utterly made them void on the day he heard them, then whatsoever proceedeth out of her lips concerning her vows and concerning the bond of her soul shall not stand. Her husband have made them void, and Yahweh shall forgive her. Every vow and every binding oath to afflict the soul, her husband may establish it, or her husband make it void. That goes all the way back to the garden, where Yahweh said, your desire shall be to your husband. That's what he told Eve. Your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall rule over you. That's in the Bible. It doesn't matter what black women say. This is the word of God. So if you don't agree with that, then you don't agree with God. And who are you to disagree with God? You who can die, and God who cannot die? You disagree with him? You got a lot of nerve, black women. Let's continue. Let's go to Numbers chapter 5, verse 11 to verse 21. See, the problem with the law is that Christians say we don't have to do this no more. That's why nobody's getting married among the black community. Numbers chapter 5, verse 11 to verse 21. That's why the black community is so destroyed now, because you have been deceived into believing that you don't have to keep God's law. That the white man's God came and did away with it. Because he is a white man's God. It's obvious. He looked like white people, don't he? So he's a white man's God. And you believe everything the white man say about his white God. So the white man says, you don't have to keep God's law. You can't find that in the Bible nowhere. So who's right? The Christians or the Bible? I'm going to ask you another question when it comes to the law. Did Paul keep the law? Well, yes, he did. Did Christ keep the law? Yes, he did. Did the rest of the apostles keep the law? Yes, they did. But somehow, between then and now, Christians came up with the idea that you don't have to do what God tells you to do anymore. Now you see why black people are destroyed as a people. White people still getting married and having families. The Mexicans are getting married, having families. Everybody on earth are getting married and having families except for black people. Because they're so stupid as to believe that God's law has been done away with. So Yahweh is destroying black people. He's causing women, because they refuse to keep the law, black women are now whores of the United States of America. They're whores. And everybody sees it. Look at how they dress. They don't dress like conservative women. They dress like whores. Even in the business community, they might be president of a business, or they may be the CEO of a business, but they still come in the door looking like whores with lipstick and makeup and eyebrows and eyelashes and weave down to the butts. But they're supposed to be the CEO. They go to church like that too. But see, because you refuse to keep these commandments and these laws, guess what? You under a curse. White people don't do it because they're not God's people. Black people, you're God's people. Because you refuse to keep his law, you are under the curse that are written about in the Bible. All you got to do is read them, and you'll see that it fits nobody but you. Don't you wonder why you're such a dysfunctional people? That life means nothing to you, that you will kill anybody just at the drop of a hat? Now, let me get back to my story here, because I'll go on a rant. Numbers 5, verse 11 to verse 21, said, and Yahweh spake unto Moshe, saying, speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, if a man's wife go aside and commit a trespass against him, and a man lie with her carnally, and to be hid from the eyes of her husband, and be kept close, and be kept close, and she be defiled, and there be no witnesses against her, neither she be taken with the manner, and the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be defiled, or if the spirit of jealousy come upon him, and he be jealous of his wife, and she be not defiled. Then shall the man bring his wife unto the priest, and he shall bring her offering for her, and a tenth part of an ephah of barley meal. He shall pour no oil upon it, nor put frankincense thereon, for it is an offering of jealousy, an offering of memorial, bringing iniquity to remembrance. And the priest shall bring her near and set her before Yahweh. And the priest shall take holy water in an earthen vessel, and of the dust that is in the floor of the tabernacle. And the priest shall take and put it into the water. And the priest shall set the woman before Yahweh, and uncover the woman's head, and put the offering of memorial in her hands, which is the jealousy offering. And the priest shall have in his hand a bit of water that causes the curse. And the priest shall charge her by an oath, and say unto the woman, if no man have lain with thee, if thou hast not gone aside to uncleanness with another instead of thy husband, be thou free from this bit of water that causes the curse. But if thou hast gone aside to another instead of thy husband, and if thou be defiled, and some man have lain with thee beside thine husband, then the priest shall charge the woman with an oath of cursing, and the priest shall say unto the woman, Yahweh make thee a curse and an oath among thy people. When Yahweh does make thy thigh to rot, and thy belly to swell, and this water shall cause the curse, shall go into thy bowels, to make thy belly to swell, and thy thigh to rot, and the woman shall say, Amen, amen. Really? Now, look at what Eve has caused. First of all, while in the garden, her husband right there with her, she goes and listens to someone else talk her into transgressing the law. It's basically the same thing. The serpent enticed Eve and lied to her, saying, you shall not surely die, but you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Look what this has caused. Because she believed the serpent, look what it has caused. Now she has to answer to her husband, and if she has gone aside to have a relationship with another man, then the curse will be that let her thigh rot and her belly to swell. They didn't say nothing about the man. What happens if the man goes aside? Nothing. Hey, I didn't write this, but this is the law. But again, these are the lessons of Eve. Let me stop right here and invite you out to the Cultural Center of the New Covenant Congregation of Israel. Again, we're located at 3901A Covenant Highway, Indicator, Georgia, 30032. Our phone number is 404-286-5869, and our website is www.thencci.org. We have a prophecy class every first day of the week, which is Sunday at 11 o'clock a.m. Come on out and read the prophecies that are written about in the Bible, because it has everything to do with you and everything to do with the rest of the world. And if you cannot make it in person, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. We have a history class every third day of the week, which is Tuesday night at 8 o'clock p.m. Come on out and see what the Bible says about you and your history, where you come from, black people. You come from the people in the book. The people in the book called themselves, were called the children of Israel. They didn't call themselves black. Nobody calls themselves by any color in the Bible. Where did that color come from? White people. White people judge you by the skin, color of your skin. If you're not white, there's something wrong with you. So that's something wrong with them. Because a color doesn't determine intelligence. And we've proven that over and over and over again in America for 400 years. It has nothing to, intelligence has nothing to do with skin color, but that's where you got it from. And we also have a sisters-only class, again, on Tuesday night on a history class. If you can join us in person, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. We have a sisters class every 5th day of the week, which is Thursday night at 8 o'clock p.m. You can join them on Zoom. And lastly, we have a Sabbath service every Saturday, which is the 7th day of the week, at 1 o'clock p.m., 1:30 p.m., 1:30 p.m. Come on out and see what it's like to remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. If you cannot join us in person, you can join us on Facebook and on YouTube. Now, again, we're looking at the lessons of Eve in this segment of our program. Let's go to 1 Corinthians 11, verse 1 to verse 3. See, y'all looking at it, they say, well, that's that Old Testament. Well, let's look at the New Testament, which y'all call the New Testament. 1 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 1 to verse 3. Now, this is Paul talking. Okay, listen what he says. Be you followers of me, even as I also am of the Mashiach. Now, I praise you, brethren, that you remember me in all things and keep the ordinances as I delivered them to you. But I would have you know that the head of every man is the Messiah, and the head of the woman is the man, and the head of the Messiah is God himself. See, that's level of responsibilities. The man is over the woman. But black women refuse to accept that because they say, I don't need a man. I got my own money. I got my own car. I got my own house. I got my own wedlock children. I don't need a man. So no man wants to marry a black woman because ain't nothing but hell and disorder in the household because she refused to submit herself to her own man. But she will submit herself to a white man, though. Look at your corporations. Look how happy she is being a manager in a corporation as long as white people running the show. She's happy she can be. She don't need a black man. That's why she refused to marry. And that's why black men will not marry a black woman. Why would you risk going to jail or risk losing everything that you work hard for and lose it to a black woman that refused to be obedient? Don't nobody want a black woman. I'm sorry. Nobody wants a black woman. They're green kryptonite. Let's continue. Well, I tell you. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 2. I mean, the Bible speaks against you black women. If the Bible speaks against you, then you don't have a leg to stand on. If the Bible speaks against you black women, well, who is your God then? Your God is a white man. Let's go. Let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 8 to verse 15. Listen to this, black women. You black Christian women, listen to this. This is 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 8 to verse 15. I will therefore that men pray everywhere, lifting up holy hands without wrath and doubting. In like manner also that women adorn themselves in modest apparel, with shamefacedness and sobriety, not with broidered hair or gold or pearls or costly array, but which becometh women, professing godliness with good works. Let the woman learn in silence with all subjection. Black women don't go to church and learn anything. But I suffer not a woman to teach, nor to usurp authority over the man, but to be in silence. This is Paul talking. He said, y'all need to shut your damn mouth. For Adam was first formed, then Eve. And Adam was not deceived, but the woman being deceived was in the transgression. Paul is blaming you black women. Notwithstanding, she shall be saved in childbearing if they continue in faith and love and holiness with sobriety. That's a humble woman. Black women are not humble. How can a whore be humble? Let's continue. Again, these are the lessons of Eve. Not only do black women hate and disrespect black men, now black women are turning against the white man that created them. Look at Jasmine Crockett, slamming the president of America, slamming all white people. If you don't like it here, Jasmine Crockett, go to a Muslim country. Go to an African country. Just sit your butt down and shut up. People are sick and tired of you, and all women just like you. Let's go to Proverbs 21, verse 9 and verse 19. Proverbs 21, verse 9 and verse 19. It is better to dwell in a corner of the housetop than with a broiling woman in a wide house. Now, the wisest man on earth wrote this at that time. Verse 19, it is better to dwell in the wilderness than with a contentious and an angry woman. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 22. Proverbs chapter 11 and verse 22. As a jewel of gold in a swine's snout, so is a fair woman which is without discretion. We're talking about ghetto women here. I mean, you got some pretty ghetto women, but they talk like whores. And they look like whores. They don't have to look like whores. They can dress modestly and still look beautiful. But again, that's that hip-hop mindset that you must look like a whore to get attention. That's all it is getting attention. She doesn't know how to be a wife, and she don't know how to be a mother. All she wants is attention. Well, that's most women. I mean, I can't put it all on black women. White women the same way. They want attention too. But at least white women got a goal that's involved in this, and that she's looking for a husband. Black women are not looking for a husband. She's looking for money. So she'll trick a black man into getting her pregnant and put him on child support. Same old game. Okay. Let's go to Proverbs 30, verse 18 to verse 20. Proverbs 30, verse 18 to verse 20. There be three things which are too wonderful for me, yea, four which I know not. The way of an eagle in the air, the way of a serpent upon a rock, the way of a ship in the midst of the sea, and the way of a woman with a maid. Such is the way of an adulterous woman. She eateth and wipeth her mouth, and saith, I have done no wickedness. Again, that's black women. Now, I don't know all about white women. I don't know white women. I don't know anything about any other woman but black women because I live among them. And they have become disgusting. They have become disappointing. A man wants to have a family and a loyal wife. He cannot find them among black women. The only answer to that is, you brothers, turn to Yahweh and keep his law. And Yahweh will give you a woman. He's not going to give you these black women here in America. He sees what they are. He sees that Satan has gotten control of black women. They have unclean spirits in them. You don't want a woman with unclean spirits. And you can tell that when they rebel against you. When they refuse to even take care of her husband. Let's go to Ezekiel 16, verse 44 and verse 45. Ezekiel 16. You see what y'all missing when the white man told you don't read the Old Testament? And so y'all don't read it, so you don't know what it's saying. This is Ezekiel 16, verse 44 and 45. Now, this is metaphorical in that he's talking about Jerusalem and his people and Yahweh's people. But look at how he describes Jerusalem. This is Ezekiel 44 and verse 45. Behold, Ezekiel 16, verse 44 and verse 45. Behold, everyone that uses proverb shall use this proverb against thee, saying, as is the mother, so is her daughter. Thou art thy mother's daughter, that loathe her husband and her children, and thou art the sister of thy sisters, which loathe their husband and their children. Your mother was a Hittite, and your father an Amorite. Those are not terms of endearment. Since Eve was Adam's wife, she now had to submit unto him. He was now her covering. Do you understand what that means, covering? That he protects her from the wiles of the devil, as long as he's a righteous man. He covers her. He protects her. And he takes good care of her. But black women say, no, 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 no. We got the white man to take care of us now. We got the government to take care of us now. The government is our husband. The white man is our husband. The government is our father, and the white man is our father. That's the mindset of black women today. It's not like that's what they wanted, but the white man offered that to them, and black women took it, destroying the black family. Today, if you marry a black woman, the children that she has, they're not guaranteed to be your children. That's why I tell you, brothers, if you're dealing with a woman and you fornicating with her and she turns up pregnant, you better get a blood test. You better find out if that's really your child. Because she'll put you on child support, or you're stupid enough to marry her, and before you know it, she's having another man's child. That's the mindset of black women today. And I'm not talking about black women that are married and have a successful marriage. I'm talking about the black women in this generation. They're toxic. You should be very careful. With some women, you don't come around with you want to touch them with a 10-foot pole. Okay, let's go to, again, women are supposed to submit themselves to the husband. White women don't have a problem with it. Japanese women, Chinese women, no other woman has a problem with it except for black women. She refuses to submit herself to her own husband. Let's go to the Ephesians chapter. They're supposed to be Christian, right? Why do you think the Christian church got so many single black women in it? You wonder why? Because don't nobody want them. Man wants peace of mind. He don't want trouble. This is Ephesians 5, verse 22 to verse 33. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Adonai. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as the Messiah is the head of the congregation, and he is the Savior of the body. Therefore, as the congregation is subject unto the Messiah, so let the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Not to the white man. The white man don't want to marry you. But you devote all your time to the white man in his business. What kind of hell? What the hell kind of woman are you? You just want everything for yourself. You don't give a damn about anybody else but yourself. That's selfishness. Nobody wants to marry a selfish woman. So you're going to grow old by yourself. And you're going to look back at your time and you're going to say, I was a hoe all my life. And now I'm by myself and have nobody to take care of me. See, when you're a hoe, I'm not talking about a whore. I say a hoe. When you're a hoe, you're not thinking about the future. As long as you grab that attention, you got that fine body, pretty face, and makeup. You got all the attention you want, but at a certain point in your life, you'll notice that all the attention is being turned away from you and turned to other young women. And all of a sudden, you by yourself, don't nobody want you. Because you're burned out. And people can look at you and tell that you burned out. That's why the men don't want to come around you. You look burned out. And you talk like you're burned out. And you act like you're burned out. And you're upset because don't nobody want you. Well, you brought that upon yourself. Verse 24, therefore, as the congregation is subject unto the Messiah, so that the wives be to their own husbands in everything. Husbands, love your wives, even as the Messiah also loved the congregation and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of water by the word, that he might present it to himself a glorious congregation, not having spot, or wrinkle, or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. No man ever hated his own body, his own flesh, but nourished it and cherishes it, even as Adonai, the congregation. For we are members of his body, of his flesh, and of his bones. For this cause shall a man leave his father and his mother, and shall be joined unto his wife, and they two shall be one flesh. This is a great mystery, but I speak concerning the Messiah and the congregation. Nevertheless, let every one of you in particular so love his wife, even as himself, and the wife see that she reverence her husband. You'll never get that out of a black woman. She will never look up to her husband. If anything, she'll find some way to get him out the house. She will make his life miserable, and black men are picking up on it. They don't want to get married to be miserable. They can be miserable by themselves. Let's continue. Let's go to Proverbs 5, verse 15 to verse 23. Proverbs 5, verse 15 to verse 23. Drink waters out of thine own cistern, and running waters out of thine own well. Let thy fountains be dispersed abroad, and rivers of waters in the streets. Let them be only thine own, and not strangers with thee. Let thy fountain be blessed, and rejoice with the wife of thy youth. Let her be as a loving hind and pleasant roe. Let her breast satisfy thee at all times, and be thou ravished always with her love. And that's when women, back in these days, women knew how to be women. Black women don't know how to be women. They know how to be hoes. And why wilt thou, my son, be ravished with a strange woman, and embrace the bosom of a stranger? For the ways of man are before the eyes of Yahweh, and he pondereth all his goings. His own iniquity shall take the wicked himself, and he shall be holden with the cords of his sins. He shall die without instruction, and in the greatness of his folly he shall go astray. That is to Pookie and Ray Ray. Stop impregnating these women. And you know it's Ray Ray and Pookie because the people that they are impregnating, the women that they are impregnating, don't nobody else want them. Let's go to 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 to verse 7. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 1 to verse 7. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation compiled with fear. Whose adorning let it not be that of outward adorning of plaiting the hair, and of wearing a gold, or of putting on of apparel. But let it be the hidden man of the heart, in that which is not corruptible, even an ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Elohim of great price. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in Elohim, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him master. You'll never get that out of a black wife. She'll never call you master. But Sarah called Abraham master. Now, that was a good woman. whose daughters you are, as long as you do well and are not afraid of any amazement. Likewise, you husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. So again, when you're dwelling with a woman, you got to have knowledge in your mind. You got to know what to think, how to think. You have to have something to have that wife continue to be interested in you. If you ain't got nothing on your brain, you don't have any knowledge, then she's going to get bored with you and treat you like trash, disrespect you. Let's continue. Let's go to Job chapter 2, verse 1 to verse 8. Job chapter 2, verse 1 to verse 8. Again, there was a day when the sons of Elohim came to present themselves before Yahweh, and Satan came also among them to present himself before Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto Satan, From whence comest thou? And Satan answered Yahweh and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. So Satan has access to the earth. Did you not know that, black women? And Yahweh said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth Elohim and is true of evil? And still he holdeth fast his integrity, although thou movest me against him to destroy him without cause. And Satan answered Yahweh and said, Skin for skin, all that a man have will he give for his life. But put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. And Yahweh said unto Satan, Behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. So went Satan forth from the presence of Yahweh, and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, and he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse Elohim and die. I didn't go that far. Take that down to verse 9 and 10, brother. In verse 10 it said, But he said unto her, Thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of Elohim, and shall we not receive evil? And all this did not Job sin with his lips. You see what his wife said to him? This is obviously a black woman. Look what she said to him. Then said his wife unto him, Dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. She's saying this to her husband. Curse God and die. That's a black woman right there. Job married a black woman. He might have known it all along. But when hard times come upon him, she didn't try to assist him or try to help him or make him feel better. She said, curse God and die. That's a black woman right there. Oh, really? Let me show you again. This is let me see here. I got but a couple of minutes. Let's go to Proverbs 6, verse 23 to verse 26. Proverbs 6, verse 23 to verse 26. For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light, and reproofs of instruction are the way of life, to keep thee from the evil woman, from the flattery of the tongue of a strange woman. Lust not after her beauty in thine heart, neither let her take thee with her eyelids. For by means of a whorish woman, a man is brought to a piece of bread, and adulterers will hunt for the precious life. It's got you in here, black women. But you have not learned the lessons of Eve. This is why you're unhappy. This is why nobody wants you around them. That's why nobody wants you in their neighborhood. They don't want anything to do with a black woman. Well, check it out. Now look, watch what happens when a black woman, when a black man goes into a bank, and a black woman is behind the counter, and a white man is in front of him, and he goes to the counter with the black woman, and she smiles in his face and says, "How you doing?" Know his name. "What can I do for you today?" And once he finished with her, the black man shows up and says, "What you want?" "We ain't got it. Get out of here." It doesn't go that far, but you get the attitude, you get the spirit from the black woman, because she immediately starts frowning when you show up. It's like you ruined her whole day just by showing up. That's why no one wants a black woman. That's why some of these brothers go to other women from other nations. All they want is peace. All they want is a sandwich and a cold beer. What's wrong with that? No. That's not enough for a black woman. She got to torment him because he's a black man. I'm going to stop right here. I thank you for joining us. God, join us next week and see if we can bring some more knowledge to you that you may not have to consider. Because today you just learned out about the lessons of Eve and how black women refuse to learn from the lesson. Yahweh bless you. Shabbat Shalom.
Yeah.